Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel and editorial discussion for 1st May 2022. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss a very interesting editorial from last week's Deccan Herald which is titled India's Ambitious Wheat Export Plan which could come under WTO lens. This editorial speaks about India's agricultural export, any of the export which could become a part of WTO issues and whether these issues are legal, ethical, moral, let us understand. And if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. Let's discuss. The editorial begins by saying that in India we have started to see that there is a possibility of exporting wheat. Yes, and this is happening because of crisis in Ukraine. Countries like Russia, they're going through sanctions. Ukraine itself is in disasters, so therefore they are not able to export wheat. These are the major wheat exporting nations. On the other hand, India has had a bumper production of wheat. So since we have got extra public stock holding, then we should be able to export it. This is where Prime Minister has asked if India can export wheat to the other nations in need or not. India has asked this. So let us understand in details why have we asked about it. Now, see, India runs a program through which India gives a lot of benefits to farmers and people who are procuring these kind of farm products. So first level of subsidy is given to the farmers, input subsidy, and then the government also procures these items with the help of FCI at minimum support price. And the third level of subsidy is providing these kind of entities to people at minimal prices through fair price shops, FPS, and this is called as PDS, Public Distribution System Network. Now, India does this so that India is able to feed the masses. Feed the masses, absolutely. India does this so that it can give some kind of support to the poor farmers because India is largely an agricultural economy and many people are poor in the country. So India gives subsidy at multiple levels, input level and then procurement level and eventually to the people who are using these items through PDS network, right? So multiple subsidies are given by the government. Now, uh, when you look at all these three subsidies, all of them could come under the term program for public stock holding. So you may start using this kind of word PSH, public stock holding program, which is how the international parlance WTO negotiations are discussed. All right. So government purchases these at minimum support price. This minimum support price is also politically driven. It keeps rising every time. Then the distribution of food grains happens at minimal cost. Rice, wheat, coarse grain at just 1, 2, 3, 2 and 1 rupees respectively. Right? So we have a public distribution system network for this. Now this heavy subsidy is given at many ways. One, MSP, which keeps rising every time, and then the other charges, for example, the audit charges, handling of these food grains, transport of these food grains, storage at places, all this is paid by the government. So let me give you an example. 2100 rupees is been the price of procurement of wheat from the farmers. This is the MSP. 2110 20 rupees, something like this. And then 2500 rupees includes the cost of handling, storage, distribution, audit, everything else. 2500 per quintal. That means for 1 kilo rupees is the price, and for 1 kilo 21 rupees is the price that farmer gets right now this year. All right. Now, now the thing here is that initially the government had said we will procure only for the requirement, right? 60 million tons, 50 million tons for the people, and we will also maintain a small buffer stock. But then, because of politicization of issue, because of increased presence of the farmers everywhere, and everybody demanding that government procures these items at some minimum price so that they receive some benefits. At least, if you remember, government has been mandating that at least 50% of benefit should be there to the farmer as compared to the input cost and doubling the farmer income, right? So government now, this is a populist measure, and in populist measure government has started to increase the MSP values. There has been a lot of lakhs and lakhs of crores of amount money given. We have discussed this many times, right? So vote bank is the one which is determining this politics. Now let us look at the number of subsidies that the government gives. First level of subsidy is that to the farmers, and the second level of subsidy is to the consumers, all right, through the lesser prices. On the other hand, when the farmer gets subsidy, they also get two kinds of subsidy. Subsidy for example, wheat specific subsidy, so input subsidy like seeds, etc. And then there is a general subsidy also. What is that? General subsidy could be water subsidy, electricity subsidy, right? Fertilizer subsidy, all of them are general subsidy. So these are the many subsidies given by the government. Now, when you're doing this work for internal economy, that is fine. But then we are when these kind of subsidies distort international trade, that is where WTO raises its eyebrows. All right. So WTO says that there are two kinds of subsidy you're giving: product specific and non-product subsidy. Non-product like fertilizer, seed, irrigation power, all of them, and some specific to the particular crop. For example, subsidy given on mulberry silk. Right. This is an example. Similarly, subsidy given specifically for cotton procurement or cotton inputs, right? So all of them, all these subsidies that the WTO has distinguished between two criteria, they are measured internationally and they are called as aggregate measurement support. Another keyword, technical word, but you must remember the aggregate measurement support is the total subsidy, farm specific, crop specific, and non-crop specific. Now, WTO says that for developing countries, this AMS, aggregate measurement support, this cannot exceed 10% of the total value of the crops. 10%, not more than that. But then this value of the crop is not determined by internal structure. It is determined through external market. So external reference price is used. External reference price, you can think of it as the international price of the crop. So 10% of this, more than that, subsidy cannot be given. If it is being given, that means that that subsidy is trade distorting. Trade distorting. So India says that, see, our population is very poor, we have to feed people, and we also have to feed the agriculturalist, so we have to give them subsidy, the farmers also, otherwise it will be very tough for them to produce these crops, and we will have to give subsidy to the people consumer also. We will have to give, and you cannot say anything because it is a human crisis here. Okay, WTO says ठीक है, they will do this. So there's a peace clause. India invokes this peace clause every time India is in giving subsidy excess to 10%. Okay, so India says we are invoking the peace clause to be able to feed the poor population, whether it be farmers or the poor urban people or the poor rural people, all this during times of COVID and other times. WTO has no problem with this. But then WTO says that you will have to share some data with us. So these are some conditions. It says you give us data on food procurement, how much you are saving at your FCI go downs, what is the distribution network, how much subsidy you have given, and this should not be internationally trade distorting. If you are, let me give you an example. If you have procured the items for, see, this is the MSP level in the country. If you have procured the items and the item is available in the market largely at 2000 rupees, 2000 rupees per quintal, that means 20 rupees per kilo, but the international price is touching 35 rupee per kilo, 35 rupee, then Indian good will automatically be promoted and people might sell for 25 rupees. This is a profit for Indian farmers. So, but then, this are these market determined prices? These are not. These have been determined after giving input subsidies to the farmers, after procuring these items for controlled price, minimum support price, MSP. So WTO says that, see, you have given a lot of subsidies and for international trade this is not done, right? So they say that for international trade, if you want to do all this trading, then you will have to not give these kind of subsidies. Now, India says that we demand total exemption for support to public stock holding. We do not want to invoke peace clause every time because population is poor. But then, if India has this stand, India just said this in 2021. We want to have complete exemption for support to public stock holding. Now, this is not only for wheat. This is for rice. This is for other crops as well. Whatever India is distributing through public distribution network and giving input subsidy. So on the other hand, India is also saying that they want to export wheat. So this is where the dilemma is. When you are giving subsidy in inputs, then if you're exporting this item, this will be trade distorting and this will come in amber box, right? Subsidy. So this is where this undermines this, both these strategies undermine our public stock holding program, and countries around the world are raising eyebrows. Not only USA, but Canada, Australia, New Zealand, European Union, all of them start countering India, right? So this is what is the issue between any trading item, any agricultural export item that we are thinking of exporting, be it rice, be it wheat, be it pulses, and if the input subsidy is more than 10%, then there are concerns. This is the issue. Now, this is where I would like to end this conversation. However, let me share something with you. Developed countries they take a proportion of total 90% plus. In fact, 95% plus is the total subsidy that they give in the total subsidies calculated on all the countries in agriculture. So if 100 rupees subsidy is given, 95 rupees subsidies is given by the developed countries. On the other hand, you also look, India provides per farmer total subsidy of around $282 per farmer, and USA provides it as 61,000, Canada 13,000, and EU $8,000. Look at this huge gap. So I'm sure that you must be in a dilemma. What is the reason for this? Yes, there are reasons, and that is the reason that agreement on agriculture is always under dispute and always under negotiations. All right. Now, a quick question. Mention 5 ways in which distortions in agriculture product availability is happening and pricing is done in the market. All right. One simple distortion is input subsidy, right? So exercise your brain and put down in the comment section. And if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. Thank you for watching.